Citibank. Neil?
Timing is everything. All right, Hillary, thank you very, very much. Of course, it was such social media sites that became the obsession, if you think about it, during the Florida shooting. That's how a lot of the word was communicated. In fact, this is bordering on an obsession, not even bordering on it. If child and adolescent therapist Darby Fox is right, we've got to get a handle on this. As parents, certainly, we've got to get a greater appreciation for this. She's back with me now. Darby, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
It is an obsession, isn't it?
It is an obsession.
So as parents, what do we do?
I think what we have to remember is that we can use it as entertainment, but it isn't. What has happened is it's replaced kids building up an identity and who they are. They have such a desire to put on the perfect external person with the likes and how they look and who they're seeing, that they don't build a foundation, a core, like who they are, what are their interests. What happens if your friend's not nice to you? Oh, I can go this direction. You really can't if your whole world is built on something external that's happening, changing round the clock and very quickly.
I don't know if it was exclusively on social media sites, but the concerns and the fingers started pointing to Nicholas Cruz almost immediately after the shooting, when people didn't know who was behind it, on social media. So what are we to learn from that?
Well, we can learn that is a positive piece of the connection, that the kids, I work with adolescents all the time, and actually they know a lot. Like, these kids did know Nicholas was a problem. So
a lot of people did.
A lot of people did. And so the fact that it runs like wildfire on social media can be a great thing. It's also something we need to remember, that anything you say or do can go viral in seconds, and it doesn't have a lot to do with who you are or if they're right or wrong. It's just how it takes on that exterior perspective. So we have to really teach our kids, and it is our responsibility to pull back and teach them to build who they are without it being subject to everybody else's liking or something on social media.
I think it was USA Today which said a thing like, our kids are hooked on these gadgets, and they said, P.S., so are their parents.
Exactly. There's one, Mary Aiken, she calls herself a cyber psychologist, and she says something really interesting, that really parents need to think about how much they're on theirs, because that's that much attention they're withdrawing from their kids. And all that attention, those are the pieces that keep us healthy, so that we don't have raised kids with a Nicholas Cruz sort of a neurology, somewhere that real sense of not belonging or rejection and desire to get back at society.
Do you think that the pendulum could swing the other way? And I think you and I touched on this soon after the shooting, this notion that, all right, we've got to do a better job of policing worrisome behavior that we see online. Apparently there was video, pictures of, the shooter cutting his arms and threatening to get a gun. A lot of people had access to that. A lot of people saw that. Some did report it. I want to emphasize that. Yeah. But now anyone who does anything, maybe even half as bad, will be fingered, and all of a sudden it's sort of like a witch hunt.
There's always that risk that can happen. I think what we really want to do overall, because anything that is happening through social media, we don't really have a touch point. There's no reality base, that we really need to draw back and think, we're not going to go off of social media as our real information. Like, who is this person? What is he struggling with? What might make sense? And that's very different.
That, should parents tell them, hey, you should report that, or
yes,
you should at least get in touch with the kid who's doing it, or your parents should get in touch with their parents, whatever.
Absolutely. I mean, parents seem to be resistant with that, as anything with bullying. But I think if kids really sense it and they do get a good feeling for it, we should listen to them. And but that is a whole nother area of then what do we do with how you report it, mental health, HIPAA laws. That's a more complicated thing.
It is a weird world where this has become kind of like that new normal, where our kids are sadly used to it. They almost shrug their shoulders at reports of a new shooting. Where do you think this is going? Is it particularly prevalent here because of social media? Is it because we're so sophisticated a society with that? What?
I think it's more prevalent here, actually, because there's more access to guns, so it's happened more. I mean, if you go to the gaming or those kind of things, there is more prevalence in Asia or some of the European countries, but there aren't mass shootings. So there is a difference. The factor that seems to sort of be standing out is the accessibility to guns.
I wondered, too, if there was a twin approach. One address guns, as the president seemed to intimate today, with an idea to raise the age to get them or at least make stricter background checks, but also to address violence that's out there in video games, even in the movies we see, like a multi-pronged approach.
You know, I never am a proponent of seeing a lot of violence because you just become desensitized.
Yeah.
But there has been a ton of research done, and there's no research that makes any correlation between gaming and violent games, the Call of Duty or Red Redemption, whatever they may be.
But all this has escalated with their growing popularity as well.
But other countries don't have that, and other countries have more gaming. I mean, I don't know a boy that's 8 to basically 23 that doesn't do a lot of gaming. They're not violent and aggressive. Yeah. There's not a connection. We don't see that through the research anywhere.
All right, we'll watch closely, Darby. Thank you very, very much. In the meantime, the president is addressing what's going on in the economy as well. He used this